What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the A7E podcast. This is your host, Jigadrin. Guys, today we are on episode 19. I want to thank everybody who has listened to the past episodes. You guys have no idea how grateful I am. For those of you that just take the time to watch, who like it, who share it, I want you to know that that does mean a lot to me. I know it's not like a ton of subscribers, but I think the conversations that kind of go on here at A7E podcast are essentially priceless, and to me that's kind of what it is. So today we have for episode 19 a very special guest, a very interesting guest as well. Ma'am, can you do me the honors of introducing yourself?
Hi, I'm Grecia. I'm a mom. I'm a wife and a NPC competitor and a trainer. I guess you can say fitness trainer.
Cool. Yeah, so that's you almost quoted your Instagram bio word for word.
Really? Oh, I'm thinking what?
Yeah, so my research sometimes includes like going onto people's Instagram, right?
Okay.
And yeah, so you did mention all that. You did mention that on there, and I
Mm-hmm.
thought that would be the reason why we could kind of talk a little bit. So just to kind of get things started, why and how did you get into bodybuilding?
Mm, well, I guess you can say. I'm very close to my brother, so
Is that the one that I had on the last episode?
yeah, the
Okay.
dark skin guy.
This guy.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm very close to him, and so we have like a lot of mutual friends. I didn't have a lot of girlfriends, I guess you can say. Like in middle school, I had more like guy friends because I was always kind of like a tomboy, just always with him. So it just so happened that I would hang out with him all the time, and there was one time that they started lifting weights in the backyard. We were probably like in eighth grade. I'm gonna say, I think it was
That's
eighth
actually
grade.
pretty young.
Yeah. So, they would do like just bench press with like literally just the bar, right? Or sometimes they would add like a 5 or a 10 and this and that. And I would see them and I'm like, man, I want to try. Like, I've always wanted to try stuff. So I did. I tried, right? And I couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't do it. And they're like, okay, yeah, get off, get off. And I'm like, no, like, let me try again. And then they're like, no, dude, like, yeah, get off. And so I would try like doing bicep curls and I couldn't do it. And I guess that's what bothered me. The fact that someone or them, for example, right? My friends, right? Or like they would tell me like, you can't do it. Like you can't do it. And that kind of just like, I'm gonna try again and I'm gonna try again. So after that, whatever, I kind of left it alone. I did like just, here and there with them. Again, I didn't really know what I was doing at that time because I was like, it was eighth grade. But it wasn't until high school, so freshman year, I was in a relationship and I was pretty chubby, believe it or not. Like a lot of people always think like, oh, you're probably very petite and blah blah. No, I was big. I was a big
You're
girl.
like a pretty big for your size.
I was chubby. Like I was big, like big mama, like you guys know.
Yeah.
And well, anyways, my goal was to like lose weight. I didn't know what I was doing, so I would just do like run, jog, but at night I would be eating like a whole lot of cereal.
And
Like,
as a freshman?
yeah.
Interesting.
So then it wasn't until freshman, sophomore, so like 10th grade, um, two of my friends invited me to join powerlifting. And I was like, like, I don't know what that is. And they're like, well, we just work out. And well, my goal was to like lose weight. So I was like, you know what? I'll try it out. Right. And we were all like chubby. Right. And my mom was very strict still, and she still is very strict. So point is, yeah, I thought, maybe if I join a sport, she'll let me, join and whatever. And she did.
Yeah.
However, my friends, they didn't like it. The second day that we were there, they quit.
Oh, and those are the ones that invited you.
Yes. So, so they quit, and then they were like, okay, dude, like, let's just tell your mom that we're going to go work out or whatever, and we can go to my house and eat munchies. Like, I still remembered clearly word for word what she said. And I was like, damn, that sounds fun, right? Being, again, like a chubby girl, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, but you know what, dude? Like, I like it. Like, I really like it. And she's like, ew, dude, why? And I was like, because it's fun. Like, it's challenging, And they're like, no. So I was like, okay. I was like, well, let me just, just keep trying, like, whatever. And again, a part of me was like, I don't want to go because I like it. And a part of me was like freaking scared of my mom. So I was like, nah, I don't want to get in trouble. I've always been the good kid. My brother's been the bad one. So,
Oh, hey, he didn't say that last time on the.
y'all know.
Yeah.
So, point is, fast forward, I fell in love. Like, it was like I was hooked. I could not go. I had to be at practice. It was literally my life. Like, powerlifting was everything to me.
Really?
I never did care about school, like grades and stuff like that. But in order for me to compete, I need to have good grades.
Yeah.
So that was like, I got on the ball and everything. I started doing good. I started even staying for tutoring, whatever. I did everything that I could so I can compete, and I did. So ever since then, it was like an addiction, like hitting PRs, setting new goals, and it was just so exciting for me, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of how it started in a way, like me actually getting into lifting and learning new things. And being that I'm very small, I guess that kind of like made me feel like not superior, but kind of like I can do it, you know, because a lot of people assume like you have to be super strong or whatever, or actually you are if you push yourself, you know. But well, I didn't know at that time, right, until I started. And I remember the first time I squatted, I was like, can you tell me if I'm doing this right, coach? And she's like, yeah. Nothing. It was like nothing. It was like nothing. Like every single thing that she was putting me to do, it was like nothing. She was like, you're very strong.
Oh, like none of the weight was like.
Yeah, like everything was like super easy. And so I was like, you know what, just put the really big one, which is like the 45, right? Yeah. And I was like, put that one. They're like, oh my gosh, she's gonna do the 45. And I was like, yeah, why not? Like what, you know, whatever. And I did it. And I was like, damn, that was easy. I was like, this is fun. I liked it.
So what? The 45s on each side, is that still 135?
Yeah, that's 135.
Wow.
So it was like nothing. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. And they're like, oh, but like, this is your first year doing this. Like, this is crazy. Like, so the seniors at that time, they were like surprised. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. Like, I'm finally like, I don't know. Because people would know me for just being, Grecia, the really short girl. Yeah. Okay, whatever. But no, now it's like, oh, it's the little short girl, the strong one, you know? So it kind of like made me feel really good. So I guess since there, it became an addiction, getting better. And, you know, like I said, like setting more goals and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was like an addiction, like crack.
Yeah. You know what's funny is that everybody who talks about, right, because I don't just talk to people who are into like fitness or bodybuilding on the podcast. I could talk, and they all usually end up in the same like concept, which is it becomes very addicting. And it's like to a point where it's like, you know, I always wonder, like, is like, is it addicting or is it a behavior? But I think it's also an addiction that becomes a behavior. But the behavior itself becomes literally who you are now. Yeah. Right. So
and I'm glad you brought that up, because I like to think that I'm pretty humble, or like just, you know, like I think I'm friendly. Yeah. I might not look like it at the gym because I know I have like a very intimidating face. I've been told like several times, but that's just my face. Yeah. Like I can't help it. And but yeah, like it does change people. I've noticed some people, you know, let it get to their head, like the ego lifting and stuff like that. And for me, it's always been like, I don't know, like it's just been fun. And then also in high school in the relationship that I was, like I said, I don't like when someone tells me like, you can't do this. And so my boyfriend at the time, he's like, I think you should quit.
Really?
And I was like, no, like, you know, and we were in a serious relationship, right? So I was like, well, no, like, why? This is what I love. And if you love me, you're going to support me, right? Yeah. So he's like, no. But then again, thinking back, it's like he was super skinny and scrawny. So it's like, okay, obviously you're intimidated. So I was like, well, whatever. And he's like, well, I'm still stronger than you, you know? And I was like, dude, no, like, this is not about that. Like, you know, you're supposed to support me, right? So point is, he's like, I don't think you should be lifting weights. Girls should not be lifting weights. You're going to look like a man. Like, your arms are getting too big and this and that. Mind you, again, I was chubby. So, I mean, I believe it. I probably had big, thick arms, you know, because I was fat, right? But I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to stop. And I didn't. Like, I left him, like, I didn't care. It's like, when it was time for practice, bye. Wow. Like, you know, and I guess it kind of, like, made things shift, I guess, between
Yeah,
us.
absolutely.
But
I mean, especially if he didn't support you, for sure.
yeah, but I was like, I don't care. It was like I was just, like I said, like hooked on it.
Yeah.
And it's something that I truly loved. And ever since then, I just kind of kept doing it and doing it. So it led to, I guess, where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. I think I'm always looking for something very or very competitive, I guess. I think I'm very competitive.
You have to.
I mean, I know I am.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
why am I even gonna say I think? Like, I think everybody knows I am.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing, but sometimes it can be a bad thing. It just depends how how you handle it. But for me, it's like, I'm not gonna lie. At times, during the meets and stuff, I would see like, oh look, she's in your weight class. I'm like, oh yeah, how much is she doing? And, and it was kind of just like that. And I've just always been very competitive.
Yeah.
And I can't help it.
So just to kind of put things into perspective for people listening, and for anybody that might be listening that doesn't know you already. So you mentioned that you were the short girl. How tall are you?
I'm 4'10".
4'10", huh?
Yeah.
That's impressive. So essentially, like most of the time, I mean, you surprised a lot of people whenever you first started. I think it's impressive whenever you mentioned that you kind of just didn't really notice much whenever they were like, you kind of ended up adding a lot of weight and then you jumped to the 135.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of funny to picture because, I mean, when you walked in my door, I was like, wow, she is pretty short, right?
I knew it. I knew it.
But I mean, that kind of goes with it. And no, but I think that's cool. So you are a competitive person. And I like that you mentioned that, it's a good thing, but can also be, so but what do you mean by that? Like when in most cases is it good? And in what cases can it be bad?
Well, I think it's good. I guess when you're like for me, for example, I was competing in powerlifting, so my goal was to not just rack up points for me so that I can win, but we were working as a team.
Right.
So as long as I made a good amount of points, it kind of helps my team or whoever else was, like, I guess in my weight class. So that's pretty much how. And then you kind of, it's because before I used to like always doubt myself, like, nah, maybe I shouldn't, maybe not. But then it's something just kind of like, I don't know, like it just clicked in me like, yes, you can, yes, you can. Like, why not? So I guess in that sense, I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
And then how I said it can be bad is because, especially now, like in bodybuilding, like, which is what I do, I have friends that compete in the same category as I do, and it's awesome. Like the support is awesome. And I know you had mentioned that before, that usually it's girls, like, oh yeah, not all the time though. Not all the time though. So it just depends. And a part of me is like, oh, well, I mean, if she doesn't like me, well, she doesn't like me,
Yeah.
No. But then it's like some girls can be really mean too.
Yeah.
And
like openly? Or like subtle?
Kinda. It's like you kind of feel like if you're a girl, you kind of feel that. Like you're in the gym and like they're looking at you,
Yeah. Maybe they're looking at you because they're like, wow, I'd love to be like her.
Well, okay. So sometimes I'll look at a girl, I'm like, wow, those are so cute. Like the leggings are so cute. Or even my husband, I got to him like, babe, that girl's so pretty or something. And usually, I don't know what it is, but usually he's like, ew, not even. Like he's like, like I guess, I don't know. But I'm just always like, oh my God, like this and that, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll see girls look at me and I tell him like, she's like looking at me, like she's staring at me. And then he'll be like, oh, just ignore it or whatever. Right. Or he'll be like, well, because you just did this, or she's probably admiring you and things like that, right? But me inside, I'm just like, but I'm nobody. Like, I'm just me, And I would always see myself like that. Like, I'm just me. Like, there's really just, I don't know, look somewhere else at.
Yeah.
But no, I started to, like, see myself for who I really am, And that was hard because, like I said, I was a pretty big girl. So for me to accept that, it took some serious time. Yeah. Like it did. Even till now, like I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what to wear. Even though we're going to be sitting down. But I was just like, I don't know. Like, I guess I just overthink a lot of things.
Yeah. Do you usually overthink the most when it comes like to you? Like do you think you're self-conscious at all still? Or is that something you've kind of conquered? You're kind of like open-minded. Now you're like, no, I don't mind. Like, is there confidence there? Or do you still?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say I'm like 1,000% confident. Yeah. But before, something that would like bother me the most was probably like my skin. Like since I have a baby, or I don't, he's not a baby. He's like a freaking teenager.
Oh, they.
No, he's 8.
Oh, okay.
But
That's not a
but
teenager. Okay.
but I would be like, man, like I have stretch marks. Like, oh, you know, this and that. But you see, I was looking at the little things, and the big picture was that, you know, I that's a blessing.
Exactly.
You know, I had a child, and not many people can have that. Yeah. So, you know, I was being a little ungrateful, and it you know, it just, like I said, it took some time for me to get over that, you know. And now it's like I just wear crop tops all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, who cares? I'm a mom. It is what it is. And I feel like that's something that will empower other moms, because you don't have to have six pack and abs and, you know, super lean, shredded. I'm not like that year round. I'm not. I do try to maintain and stay at a good body fat, or just, you know, kind of see a little bit of lines, not too much. But I mean, if you don't have lines, or even if you have a belly, that's cool too. Yeah. Like, you know, it is what it is.
I agree. Especially because that it's real. I think it's real that there are some girls and guys out there that, I mean, they're in, you know, ridiculously great shape, right, in physiques, and sometimes, and that's actually kind of, I wasn't like identical question about that I had, but it's like, do you think, you know, people, especially people who haven't kind of stepped foot like into the fitness and health industry, or, you know, took that first step for themselves to be a healthier version of them or a stronger version of themselves, do you think they get intimidated by that? Do you think they get intimidated by like the people that you see on social media, and then, you know, maybe like they go to the gym one time and then they see like everybody, is there like, you know, and then it kind of just convinces them otherwise, like, like there's no way I can do that, like I'm just gonna stay home type of thing? Does that happen?
Yeah. So, I mean, I can say I was in their shoes at one point. You know, like I took baby steps, obviously. Like I had to learn to, you know, to do things right way and do them safely and stuff like that. And like I said, I was a big girl. So even then, like after high school, like I lost a lot of weight, like a lot of weight. I was weighing 123 in high school. Okay. So that's probably not a lot.
Well, I mean, for 4'10", that's...
Yeah. So, I mean, but I was like 1,000% body fat. Okay. So, I mean, it was bad. Yeah. You know, it looked bad. I was like a little circle, like a little meatball. Yeah. And now I'm just like a little sausage. But yeah, like I would be like, okay, obviously this is not healthy. So whatever. I didn't lose weight willingly. I kind of just lost weight because I was working. Okay. So I've just always kept working and working and working. And then I ended up losing all that weight, right? And then I got pregnant. And then I was like, okay, whatever. After I had my son 2 weeks after that, I went back to the gym. Okay. So I didn't. 2 weeks? Yeah, like I didn't wait for the doctor to tell me like you're good. I was just like, no, I want to go to the gym. I'm gonna get in shape and whatever. Because during the time that I was pregnant, my husband was at the gym and, you know, working out, and I was like,
he was working on himself.
Yeah, so I was like, just you wait. Just you wait, right? And like I said, I'm very competitive. Sometimes I'm competitive with him, which I shouldn't be, but sometimes I'm competitive with my brother or with my friend. Like right now I'm in a competition with one of my friends, and I don't even have my watch with me, but point is it's on the watch. Yeah. And I can't help it. Like I try not to be very competitive. Yeah. But it just, sometimes it's like, nah, be competitive, you know? But yeah, I mean, back to your question. Yeah, sorry. No worries. Yeah, you know, I feel like social media like brainwashes people that you have to look a certain way, or, you know, like sometimes they'll tell you like, oh, it doesn't take long. But reality is, it is a process. It's a transformation. It does take time. Realistically, it will take you a little bit over 3 months, I guess you can say, to kind of start seeing some results if you're like overweight and stuff like that. But you just have to stick to it. Yeah. And that's just pretty much it.
I know that one of the topics that I touched in the past with one of the guests, I think it was, is that it's like everybody kind of, whatever they're going for, whether it be a goal like in work or in fitness or anything, like they have the goal in mind and they want that as fast as possible. And it seems to be like so natural and consistent now, like in today's like society. And it's like, I'm wondering like where in the evolution of time, not even like in the past couple of years, did we forget that everything truly does take time? Like everything truly has a process. And even though every process has its own like its own time frame. Nonetheless, everything takes time to accomplish, right? And I feel like that's where most of the people just stop going after the things that they want or the goals that they're looking for, is because they don't get it in the amount of time that they thought they were going to get it, right? And once they don't get it in the time that they thought or planned on getting it, then they give up and they move away. And it's like, even me, like sometimes, what's funny is that I go on social media specifically to kind of see what it is that me as a person is consuming, right? Like what kind of content I'm consuming, what kind of messages am I hearing? And I hardly, and they are out there, but I hardly hear people preaching like the ability to like really enjoy the process, like really expect it to take long, right? If we can create an expectation where something takes longer than usual, and then maybe we can have more people kind of stick to those goals, and increase the possibility of more people staying on track to accomplish something, right?
Yeah,
And
because it kind of gives them hope.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think like I think there could be a way where it's like, okay, as because I coach little kids as well, and I've coached and I've trained people as well for like general health. And I always try to stay away from, I always try to be realistic as possible, right? And it's like, I know you want something and you telling me what you want. And I would be lying to you if I told you that I can make that happen in this amount of time or in whatever time frame you want me to tell you it's going to happen. Like if you really want true results that are going to stick, I was like, they're going to take longer than you think. Now, do you still want to do it? Yes. Okay, then let's do it. If you don't want to do it because it's not fast enough, then I can't help you there, right? And I feel like sometimes we get lost in the lack of the message that things take time,
Yeah. No, yeah, I get you. I don't know where we went that way, like how people think that it'll just magically appear. But I think it has to do a lot with like social media
100%.
or advertisements, like here's 5 tips.
30 days.
Yeah, 30. Like, there's so
25,
many
yeah.
like trends, and I'm not gonna lie, like I've done probably like all of them. No, not all of them. But before I would be like, man, I want to lose weight really quick. So like sometimes I would just drink water, or sometimes I would run a lot, or sometimes I would, I would just do what I thought would,
work.
And I would assume like, you know what, me being in powerlifting, like I knew it was something good because you're lifting weights, but again, like my mentality was eat more, get big, be stronger. That's pretty much all they would teach us, know. So I didn't know any better. I just kept on eating.
Wow. So eat more, get stronger.
Yeah, like our thing was just like, no, like you have to eat carbs.
So
like,
you can be stronger.
Yeah, for the meats, of course, not all the time. But, but then it would suck because it'd be like, Grecia, you're like 2 pounds overweight. And I'd be like, oh, man. So I would be jogging and trying to put
because you had to be a certain weight class.
Yeah, you have to be in a weight class.
Right.
So I couldn't just eat the whole world, like I had to like limit it. But it was kind of hard. Like I kind of thought like, okay, but I'm supposed to eat so many carbs, like good carbs, like pasta. Yeah, I thought that was a good carb, right? And I mean, clearly it wasn't. But like things like that. And then it wasn't until again, like after high school and after all that I started, getting more into like bodybuilding and like healthy eating and stuff like that I learned a lot, like about general health, like what's a good carb, what isn't, and just things like that, because a lot of people think like, oh, just cut out all the carbs, and no, you're wrong. You're very wrong. No, we need carbs. So don't do that. But yeah, I don't know, I guess social media is what people rely on.
Social media, I think a lot of, I mean, it'd be false to say that there aren't people out there who use false expectations to bring in call it what it is, like
marketing,
business, money opportunities, right? I mean, it's true. I mean, there's some people out there who go about business that way, and I mean, some people unfortunately are affected by it. So yeah, guys, so be careful when you're out there. If anybody promises you anything fairly quick, if it sounds, most people say if it sounds too good to be true, then it probably is. But when it comes to your health, I think you have to be a little bit more careful. If you try to do things to expedite what you think is a proper goal in regards to like losing weight or anything like that, you could damage your body in the process. Just kind of be super careful. Like do your research. Essentially, do your research before you make any commitment or financial decision with anybody. So, Grecia, I know that we spoke briefly about a difference in powerlifting and what you're doing now, which is bodybuilding, right? And you said that there was a slight difference, but I'm also interested in regards to like the quality of food, because I know that you mentioned just a second ago, like you had to learn, quality and different kinds of food. It's like, what is the biggest difference in regards to that?
So when I started like actually bodybuilding, like wanting to build muscle, of course I learned a lot from like YouTube or like just reading articles on Google and stuff like that. And I would have never thought you had to eat like a good amount of protein. I thought, okay, like I'll just eat protein. My thought was like a shake, but
Yeah.
no, it's more than that. It's not even like the shakes are like whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but it was more the consistency of the meals, like the portions of the meals. What I thought I was eating, like my portion size, completely off. And then protein wise, it's like I have to eat chicken, like, and it's not like whatever chicken, but it's like chicken breast, very lean, ground beef or ground turkey or steak or fish, just things like that, very high protein food sources, right? And then as far as like carb sources, very clean, like sweet potato, rice, stuff like that. Not the type of rice that your mom makes at home with
No.
all that comino and everything.
Yeah.
No, not that. And believe it or not, every time I'd get home from school, if I wasn't eating a hot pocket, I was eating rice.
Really?
I was eating rice and chicken, but my mom was making like pork chops and stuff.
Okay.
My mom's real Mexican, so
Yeah.
that's what we ate. And if she was out the door, then we kind of just chose what we wanted to eat. But in bodybuilding, it's like you kind of have to be eating very, very like on point if you want to see results. So, yeah, like and I'm eating a lot more actually.
Right
Like,
now?
yeah, like not big portions, but
Yeah.
like more meals.
Okay.
So sometimes I'll eat like 5 times a day or 6 times a day. Just
6
depends.
times a day, huh? Okay. To most girls, when you say you're eating 6 times a day, like that,
I know.
it makes no sense to them, right? Because they assume that you're eating more, so you should be
Gaining
gaining
right?
weight, right?
No, yeah. So the way I like to tell my clients, and I hope this helps someone, and I hope I say it right.
Yeah.
When we think of our digestive system, right, or our metabolic rate, right, I think of it as a fireplace. So in order for the fireplace to keep being lit and keep fire and all that, we have to add more wood to it, right? So it can keep burning. It's the same thing with our body. If we wanted to keep burning food or burning the calories or whatever, you have to keep feeding it. Not bad food, obviously,
Right.
but every 2 to 3 hours, it keeps our body working. So ideally, you will lose weight, right? Again, clean eating and exercise. But there's some people that tell me, or they'll come to me, like some of my past clients, like, oh, well, I only eat once a day. Why am I gaining so much weight? Well, because your body is storing that little food that you're giving it, it's storing it as fat instead of using it as fuel, because we need that. Our body wants food, but it also stores it under fat. But it just depends how many times you're feeding it and what you're feeding it. Right.
Yeah. One thing that my idea, like in regards to general health, right? Like not being so strict when it comes to people just come to me and say, hey, I want to lose weight, right? Because I have people come to me and say, I don't care what, just help me lose weight. Obviously, my typical thing that I say is do your best to cut out, the bad, your sodas, your sugars, whatever. I don't tell them, hey, I don't even give them like a meal plan, nothing. I just say, what are you doing bad? Okay, let's stop doing that bad stuff at least, or the worst stuff. And then essentially, if you want to lose weight, we'll try to figure out what's it called? Like your metabolic rate, like the amount of calories.
So what you're burning at a resting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially, we'll try to help them figure what that out, and then be in a calorie deficit, right? Be in a calorie deficit, like with decent quality food. And then you should be okay, right? And then obviously, I know other factors come into play. But when it comes to someone who's just asking me for like general health and general like weight loss like tips, I essentially say try to focus on being in a calorie deficit. Is that pretty accurate in regards to losing weight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much. Yeah, they can go get their in-bodies done, and then it'll be able to like tell them exactly how much fat they have. Again, what they're burning. So like it'll give you like the little like numbers, the calories, right?
Yeah.
And then their weight and how much body fat they have, and so on.
Yeah, and I think that an in-body is very, I think is very undervalued. Like I think in-bodies are very, very useful. The first time I used the in-body was like probably 4 years ago for the first time. You know, believe it or not, like I honestly didn't lift weights at all until I was 18 years old, right? I just come from like a background where that was never a thing. I never saw that like around, you know, growing up, my friends or anything. All I did was play soccer, right? So essentially all I did was run. And
I actually tried out for soccer in high school.
did you?
Yeah.
How'd it go?
I quit.
Really?
Like the first day, I hate running.
Yeah.
Like I'll do any other type of cardio, but running, no,
Yeah.
no. And well, soccer, it's like a lot of running. So they made us do like a lot of conditioning. And I was like, okay, I get it. We're going to run the first day. Cool. It was the second day. And they're like running again. I'm like, okay, how long does this last? They're like, oh, for like probably like 2 weeks. And I was like, I'm out. I'm out. No.
Yeah, that's man, high school sports are, I mean, it's everything has its own place and time, right? So, but yeah, at a high school level for sure, they'll dedicate 2 weeks, and sometimes at a collegiate level as well. It's just straight running, like 2 hours a session, like you're just running,
Yeah,
sprints.
we were just running and running and running. I was like, yeah, no.
Believe it or not, as a soccer player, I absolutely hate running as well. Like I absolutely hate it. The only reason I'm able to bear it when I play is because of the actual action of the sport, right? Yeah. But yeah, so I actually never lifted a single weight in my life until I hit 18 years old. And the very first time that I lifted a weight is because I got a personal trainer because I wanted to play soccer in college. The only way I stood a chance was to completely transform my body at the time because I was extremely chubby. In high school, I think in 12th grade, I was weighing like 198, right? And like you said, 1,000% body fat probably, right? Exactly like you said, like literally there was nothing to me. Like there was no muscular strength. So it was bad. And whenever I realized that I did have an opportunity to play in college, I was like, okay, if I even want to stand a chance to compete, it's like I need to do something. So I got a trainer, you know, started doing all the workout and stuff. And yeah, it was really life-changing to me. Like, just the way that I felt, obviously I performed 1,000% better, my physical abilities. And I like to tell people, it's like when I got that personal trainer, he's from Florida, his name's Leo. He's the reason like why I stopped drinking soda, right? Like since I was 18 years old and what am I, 29 now? I've probably had like 2 cans of soda since then, like of legit soda. Like, and what I mean by that is like with your sugars and all that. Like every now and then I like to enjoy like a Diet Dr. Pepper, like 0 calories or sugars, even though they're not the best for you. But when I crave that type of like carbonated drink, I'll have like a Diet Coke or something like that. But if it's not a Diet Coke, which I rarely do, it's just water. And I've done that since I was 18. And honestly, people do not realize like the benefit that like someone feels from switching over to like juices, sugary drinks to like just like consistent water source. And I think that it's taken very lightly nowadays, you know?
Yeah, I can't really.
Yeah, no. So
sorry. No, but because I don't like Coke, I've never liked Coke ever. Even like since we were little, like they would give us Coke.
Oh, you just didn't like it.
I just don't
Lucky.
like Coke. I don't like it.
Lucky.
And well, my parents are separated, so when I would go visit my dad in Mexico, everyone drinks Coke, right?
The
It's like
Jarritos,
the
right?
normal, yeah. So they would like my cousins. They're all obese from my dad's side. Just gonna put that out there.
Yeah.
Okay. And they would make fun of me because I wouldn't drink Coke. And I'm like, but it's because I don't like the little gassy
The
stuff.
carbonation?
Which is weird because I like energy drinks. I don't drink them all the time, but I'll have one, you know, every now and then.
Which one do you drink?
Like I'll drink the Monster, like the white one.
Yeah.
That one's good.
Okay.
And then like I'll switch it out. Like I don't know which one kind of like looks pretty or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll just switch it. But like as far as drinks, like even at our home, I don't have Cokes. The only reason why we might have like a Coke Zero is for my husband.
Yeah.
For him or my son.
Yeah.
But me, like I have like a whole drawer filled with like a bunch of little Mios, like the little squeezable things.
Yeah.
and like probably like 1,000 little packets of like mixes, like
Right.
sugar-free ones. Like I stock up on those just in case I ever want something
Yeah.
that's not water. I can just put it in my water, or for my son too, because like I said, I don't want to keep giving him Coke.
Yeah.
Even though it's Diet Coke, I don't want to give him
100%.
Coke.
I mean,
It's still Coke.
exactly the quality of a Diet Coke, the
Mm-hmm.
ingredients is not good.
Because mentally you're still having that fix,
Yeah.
like, you know, and I don't want him to. I just want to like
Good.
no.
Good. That's a good
Yeah.
idea. And so it's funny you say that because I grew up on sodas, right? Like I grew up, I'm talking I think I've said this before on one of my episodes. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it was a minimum of 2 Cokes a sitting. And it's like me and my brothers as well, but so whatever breakfast we had, ice, Coke, I finished it, refill, same sitting. Lunch, another 2 Cokes. And it got to a point where I would do like physical activity, like play soccer for like 2 hours. And to hydrate, the only thing that I wanted was soda.
Oh my god.
And it was so bad. Like I just
Ew.
want, yeah. And I always wonder, like, where would I be right now in regards to health if I just kept,
Nah, you wouldn't here, bro.
No.
You wouldn't be here.
like
You'd be
that's,
gone.
I mean, maybe, but it poison. I think soda to me, I've convinced myself, and although I do have the diet every once in a while, soda to me is poison. Like if you just look on the back of a can of soda, the nutrition facts is just 40 grams of sugar and literally salt, and that's it. That's it in a
Yeah.
can of soda, and it's like mind blowing to me when I've seen, I'll see just people just pop it open and just chug it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's
wow, there
kinda
goes
sick.
50 grams sugar right there.
And like I know what you mean. Like I've seen it. Like before I made the transition for my son, you know, I didn't think nothing of it because when he was little, he was very, very thin, like super skinny. So I was like, well, Coke's not gonna hurt him.
Right.
A Coke's not gonna hurt him. He's 8, and this boy loves Coke. So slowly, I just stopped buying them. At first, I would feel bad because I'm a mom, and he'd be like,
Right.
"I want a
He wants
Coke,"
the soda.
and I would get him the little tiny ones. But now it's like no and no. As long as you live under my roof,
Right.
you're gonna drink water.
Did they still ask for it?
Mm,
Not so much.
there was one. There's one right now. There's one flavor. What is it? Coke Zero, and it's a new one called Starlight or something like
Yeah.
that. Oh my gosh, my husband is hooked on that. He's going to Walgreens like today, and I know he's gonna go get one
He'll bring a pack.
because I thought I was being thoughtful, and I'm like, you know what? They haven't had a Coke. I'm gonna go to HEB and whatever. So I did get them the Cokes, but I didn't realize that it wasn't Coke Zero. It was like the regular kind.
Yeah.
Because they have the sugar-free one.
Yeah,
and
sugar-free Coke Zero and like whatever.
yeah. Well, it's the same exact label, but the other one just has little words that says sugar-free.
Yeah.
But I didn't look at that, and I bought 3 of them, and so they're there in the fridge.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's gonna drink them, but they can't drink them.
Yeah, that Starlight, right?
Starlight.
I actually recently had it like 2 weeks ago with my big brother.
Did you
Kind
like
of weird.
it?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It tastes like cotton candy. Like it legit, or in my taste buds, it tasted like cotton candy. And the reason why I expressed it like that is because it doesn't say cotton candy.
Yeah.
It says Starlight, but it's pretty good.
I heard someone say it tastes like Tylenol,
Tylenol.
like medicine, but
Yeah.
with like fizz.
Yeah. I can see that for sure.
Okay. My husband says no, they're wrong.
Yeah, no,
But I don't know.
I can see it. I mean, right when it tastes like you taste it, you can kind of get like a sense of type of
Fruity,
medicine. Yeah,
maybe?
no, fruity towards the end for sure.
Okay.
Cotton candy like is my
Overall. Okay.
Yeah. So okay, well look, why don't you talk to me a little bit about like what it's like being a mom? What's it like being a wife and still trying to accomplish your goals as a bodybuilder? And you say you have clients as well.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you manage that in 24 hours, assuming you're still sleeping fairly well?
Yeah. So my day usually starts like around sometimes 3:30, 4 in the morning. It just depends. I don't know if you noticed when I messaged you back, it was like I said good morning, and it was like 3. Yeah, I was awake. So
I thought maybe you just like
no, that I'm awake.
yeah.
So I'll wake up and I just have to start my day. Like I've been used to that time schedule since I was in high school.
Really?
Yeah, because if it wasn't for powerlifting or whatever, like sometimes I would have to make weight, like I said. So I would sometimes run, maybe jog, things like that. So I kind of just got used to it. And then, of course, when I started bodybuilding, we have to do fasted cardio. You could do it like at 4 or 5 in the morning, but sometimes my body just wakes up and, whatever. Or sometimes I will wake up at 4 or 5, the latest, right? But it's very rare. So it'll start from there. I'll do my cardio. And then after that, I'll clean up, or sometimes I'll clean up first, like the living room or the kitchen before anybody else is awake. Wow. And then I'll go do my cardio, whether I have to do posing or not. And then I'll do abs. And then after that, I'll go and shower. And then I come out, make my breakfast. I eat, wake up my son, get him ready for school, and then take him to school. And then I train my first client in the morning. After that, then I have to go back home, get my meals, and then go to work. After work, I come out to train my other client. And then depending if the other one comes, then I will work out after that time.
Right.
And then after that, I'd go pick up my son again. And then we go home again, eat, help him if he has homework. Lately, he hasn't had homework, so we're kind of like been watching a movie here and there.
Okay.
But the times that he has homework, it's like, okay, homework first, and then you get to play or do whatever you want. And after that, then I'll put some clothes to wash. Like, we literally wash clothes maybe like every 2 days.
I bet.
Like, literally, there's always a basket because I don't only do it. My husband does it too. And he changes like a lot. And well, me too. Like I said, like I have to do my cardio and all that. So we're constantly changing. So then after that, I have to shower, whatever, eat again, and then put my son to sleep. And then eventually I will go to sleep. Probably by like 7 o'clock, I'm knocked out.
Wait, you're sleeping at 7 o'clock?
No, like I'm sleepy. Like I'm like I'll be in the couch like this, and my husband will be like, no. But my son's bedtime is like 9 or 8:39, so I kind of have to stay awake. Right. It's hard for me to stay awake. If I have a chance, which is rare, I'll take like a little tiny nap. But it's really rare because as soon as my son gets home, it's like, Mom. Even though my husband is there, it's Mom. Yeah. It's not Dad. It's Mom. Yeah. So even though my husband can be next to him, like I can be in the room asleep, Mom. Like it just, when you're a mom, it just doesn't stop. Yeah. So, and then he'll kind of get like, but Mom, you didn't play with me today or something like that. And I am close to him and I try to like be there with him and stuff. Yeah. But he understands. Like my son's very smart and he knows what we do is tiring. Sometimes I'll tell him like, babe, I'm just tired, babe. And he's just like, okay. And then I feel bad. I'm like, no. And it kind of like, it makes me get up like, no, I'm going to be there for my son. Yeah. So I'll go to his room and I'll be there with him, cuddle with him and then put him to sleep and whatever. But he kind of gets the hints already. He knows that once we start prep, it's game on. Like
different.
Yeah.
Why is it different?
It's so busy. It's like we have to be on point. Like if I'm not on prep, then I can kind of just chill, like maybe not be as strict. We'll have like a cheat meal here and there. Well, it's only like on the weekends, but we use it like as family time. Right. But when it's prep, it's like no. But sometimes what we do is like we'll be like, hey Eli, like my son, like do you wanna go get a candy? Like just to even see him eat a donut or something is kind of like satisfaction to us. Yeah. Because we can't have it, obviously, but he can. Yeah. So I don't know. But then I know it's not healthy because, I mean, we're feeding him that, Yeah. But we're not doing that no more. But yeah, it's just there. And then being a wife, it's like, I'm kind of, I guess, I don't know. It's cool because my husband does it. Cool. Yeah, like it kind of helps because before he wasn't, like he was into like lifting and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I think him also, he kind of like got into it more, I guess, once maybe he saw me compete, that he was kind of like, you know what, I want to try it out too. Yeah. And he pushes me and I push him too, or I like to think I push him. Yeah. I probably don't even push him, but like he motivates me and like, I guess we kind of help each other out. Like right now he's probably making our chicken and we kind of just take turns. So it helps a lot. Like, I'll be like, babe, I'm tired. Or like if I'm running late from my client, because let's say we took longer or whatever, he already made my ground beef or whatever. Because we don't always eat the same thing. Yeah. Sometimes he eats something and then I'm not allowed to eat it yet. So yeah, and we have to buy groceries like every 2 days.
You
It's
know,
expensive.
your husband's a big guy. I've seen him at the gym a couple times.
Yeah.
Do you go to the ghost gym at all, or do you?
Sometimes, because the time that he goes is the time that I work.
That's what I was. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it vice versa as well?
Kinda. No, not really. Because I work from 10 to 2.
Okay.
And that's usually like his time where he's free.
Okay.
Only today we were able to train. Like today's we went to go train together.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like training with him?
Yes.
Why? Because he pushes you?
Yes. Like, yes. Yeah. Like at first I'm like, oh shit. Like he's going to make me do so many things. But I need that. I need someone to push me. Because if it's just me, it's like I can push myself. But I feel like if he's there, it's kind of like, no, like I'm going to show him like I can do this or I can put more. And like he believes in me. And, you know, I want him to be proud. Like, damn, like my girl got this, you know? Like, it's like, yeah, you didn't marry someone weak. But yeah, pretty much.
I've seen your husband at goes. Honestly, I think like maybe 4 times. He's a big guy. Like I was.
Yeah,
you know,
he wasn't always big.
Yeah.
When I met him in high school, and I was in all that like powerlifting and stuff, I was busy. Like, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But I was busy. I would have never met him ever because again, I was so focused in like my training that I didn't care about anything else. And he was very, very skinny, like so skinny.
Really?
Like super skinny. Like I'm not even like.
It's nothing wrong with me.
I don't know, but no, like he was really skinny.
Yeah.
And now he's like this huge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I would have never looked at him and be like, hey, I would have never guessed that he was skinny at any point in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And the same thing with me. People were like, what? You were fat?
Okay,
that was you? And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, dude, that was me. And I tell my friends, like, oh my God, why didn't you guys tell me that I look like that?
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, we didn't see nothing wrong with you. But
yeah, most people don't. You know what I notice is that, like, because sometimes, I mean, I wonder the same thing, right? Whenever I told you that I was, like, never lifted weights, I was 1,000% body fat. It's like, why didn't anybody tell me anything? It's like, because, I mean, most of the time is that nobody knows any better around you.
yeah, because nobody really cares and nobody really sees that,
Yeah.
right? Because now that I think about it, think about it. Because I was thinking about this other day. I'm like, dude, do you remember when we would eat pizza with chocolate milk? Like, why would they give us that? Like, that's sick.
Yes.
Would you do that right now? No. And I remember sometimes they would give Subway sandwiches, and I thought I was being healthy, right?
Yeah.
With like so much mayo and chocolate milk. Like, I thought that was like,
And it was at the time.
Yeah.
At the time.
And now it's like, ew.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah.
You know what? So my little brother's still in high school. He's a senior. And I asked him about like the foods that they serve there. And he's like, he says now, or first of all, I was born and raised in Florida, right? So he was born in Florida. We moved here about 8 years ago. So he's a senior now. And we talk about the foods they serve there. He says it's just garbage. So like, I'm always like, why did it used to be okay. It was still always bad. But he says now it's garbage. Like sometimes he'll like just not eat like the school food, like because it's just that bad. And so it's funny that you say that because like
I think maybe because he's older, maybe because my son, I'll be like every single day.
He likes it.
Yeah, I pick him up like, would you eat? Oh, I had a burrito, or I had pizza.
It could be because he's older,
or I had things like that, or a burger, which is, I mean, I get it, like it's a lot, but I'm like, okay, like it's kind of the same that I was having.
Yeah. But I remember, I mean, at least in Florida, I don't know like if that even changes within states or anything, but in Florida there was like, it wasn't amazing, but it just, I couldn't.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I can't look back and be like, oh, that was garbage. It's like, no.
There was always some like a healthier option. Like they would give something and then they would give something else.
Yeah, we did have a salad bar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you go.
Yeah, every once in a while I would go through.
Did you guys have a pizza bar?
We didn't have a pizza bar, but we had like a little. Well, yeah, actually, it was like a pizza bar. Like, yeah, you would give them $1 and they'll give you like a pizza.
Oh, okay, yeah, exactly.
You had to pay for it.
Exactly.
If you wanted Little Caesars pizza.
Exactly.
But if you wanted the regular cafeteria pizza, then it was free.
Yeah.
But it was only like every now and then that they would give it.
Cool. So let me ask you this. So I know like early in the episode you mentioned that one of your past relationships when you started doing powerlifting, that your partner at the time essentially told you that they didn't want you to do it, but you're like, hey, no, like I'm gonna do it anyway. Obviously later in the later stages of your life now, obviously, you know, with the partner that you have now, or when you got into that relationship, was that ever like an issue for you? Did you ever feel like you had to compromise on your goals because of the person that you were with? Or were you always gonna be like that? Like, oh, my goals first, and then,
Yeah.
you know?
So, I mean, when I first, like I said, when I first met him, he would go and watch me at my powerlifting meets. And I think maybe that kind of like, I don't know, I was kind of introducing him to my world, right? And I don't know if he understood what we were doing or, you know, was familiar with competing, what I was doing, right? But I know he liked it. You know, he liked that for me. So that was kind of supportive for me. And I mean, I enjoyed that I didn't have to restrict myself from like the other relationship. How it was kind of like he doesn't like that. So it was kind of easier, I guess, with him.
Yeah.
And me doing it, he was how do you call it? Like he started as well. So we've always been a team and we always work together. So it's awesome. It's completely the opposite from like the other person.
Yeah.
And then now, well, I mean, we're married, so it's like I stand by my husband. Whatever he says goes. And a lot of people might not see that because again, one, they're not married or they don't respect their husband in that way. And I'm not saying he's always right because he's not.
Right.
But since he's the head of the household, I kind of just respect his decision. And it's good that you brought that up because the beginning of the year, I was like, I always tell my family and like my siblings jokingly, like, man, we're not gonna live like this no more because we don't have a lot, you know. But the little that we have, we use it and it makes us happy, like whatever it is that we have.
Right.
So we're not like banking or anything like that. We're like just regular people. And so I always tell them like, man, we're not gonna live like this no more. But to my husband, you know how I always tell you joking? I was like, I mean it. This year, like, we're gonna make something happen. And he's like, okay, babe. I'm like, no, like I really feel God's telling me this is our year. This is our year. Yeah. And he's like, so what do you? I was like, I think I need to jump. And I'm gonna take that leap of faith. I'm gonna jump, you know, because we've always been like, nah, maybe not, or maybe this, or maybe what if people don't like it, or what if people say something? Things people are always gonna talk, so it doesn't matter. So I kind of felt that calling in my life, like jump, and I did. I was like, I'm gonna open my website, which I did, LittleBuffChick.com.
Yeah.
But I opened my website, and I was like, I'm gonna start training people again. I'm gonna start reaching out to people again. I'm gonna start being a little bit more social. And it's what I love, you know? And at first, being my husband, he's like, let's think about this, you know, because in order to make money, you have to sacrifice some money, you know, whenever you're making a business or something, you kind of have to put your part in too. Absolutely. And we didn't have much at the beginning, right? We still don't. But I was like, but baby, like I feel it. Like this is what God's telling me to do and I'm going to do it and it's going to work. And, I kept with it, right? And I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry that, you know, that you feel like
hesitant.
Like hesitant to agreeing with me. But God comes first. Yeah. And then him. So, and he knows that. And that's a beautiful thing about our relationship is that we put Christ in the middle. So that's why I tell him, like, I have to do what's best for me. And it's not that I'm going against him. It's kind of just what I felt was right. Yeah. And he saw, boom. I did that. People started reaching out. And ever since then, since I've been obedient to that calling, it's incredible. Like it's been successful. Yeah. Like, and at first I was like, what am I doing? Like, you know, it's not about like, no, that's just the enemy trying to put fear in you, you know? Yeah. And I was like, no, I rebuke that. So I was like, no, like I'm going to do what God's telling me to do. And that's truly what I feel. And, you know, it's been amazing how God works. Yeah. And it's just a matter of having faith. A lot of people feel like they think, you know what, like, oh, it just never happened. Or they just give up, like how you say, right? But if you just have that little, just keep holding on to that faith, like you'll see it come through. And I was telling my husband, like maybe like like 2 weeks ago, I was like, if in 2 weeks, because we were trying to plan for another show or something, I'm like, I don't know if we can afford this. Like, you know, things are piling up and this and that. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. And he's like, no, babe, like, we got this and whatever. And I was like, you know what, you're right, right? So I was like, no, like God will provide. God will provide, and He has.
Yeah.
He has. So, I mean, it's just. I think sometimes He tests us
Yeah.
to see how long we're gonna hold on to that faith, and He will come through. He always does. And I like to say that I think we fast
Yeah.
because He's been providing like nonstop, and I'm just like, wow, like I'm just blown away.
Yeah.
So I mean, He's been very supportive ever since.
I love everything that you just said because I've experienced those moments in my life as well, and I think a lot of people haven't experienced that type of that type of power, right? And real unconditional love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that it first of all, I mean, hats off to your husband, like in regards to hats off to you and like how you where you put your husband, like in his position in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you talked about the respect for him, that he's the head of the household and you stand by him, because it's rare that I speak to a woman or even see things on social media that they even are openly that they openly, I guess, admit that, or they say that. It's like you hardly hear nowadays.
And I don't like. I mean, I understand why they do or why they don't. Most the generation now, it's more like be, I don't know, be superior. But the thing is, that's not how it's supposed to be. Like you and your husband are supposed to be one because you're a team. But again, it all falls because maybe their thoughts or their actions are not the same, or also because they're just not married yet.
Yeah.
And if they don't have that relationship, especially with God, then they just kind of feel like, why is He gonna tell me what to do? But it's not about that. It's a respect and love thing that again you learn as you grow with Christ, right?
Yeah.
In between y'all's relationship. So it's not so much that He controls me or anything like that, but it's kind of like that's my husband,
For sure.
So I respect his thoughts, his whatever he thinks is best for our family. It's on his hands, and he knows that he has that huge responsibility. So he knows, like, if he says no for something or he says yes, like right now he wants to buy a new grill, and I'm like, are you sure about that? Like he's like, yes, and I'm like, okay, that's what you want, then okay, you're gonna make the chicken. No, but it's because this is his third grill, so sometimes it can be kind of like but I know he's gonna use it, so
Gotcha.
for my chicken.
I love that, by the way. Truly, I like that. That's your stance on that. Truly, you don't hear that very often nowadays. What's your? I want to go back to a little bit to like your calling and the moment that you took a leap, right? And you were essentially had two choices. You keep the faith and you keep going, or you don't and you quit. What's your? Why do you think, or what made you feel that was your calling, like in that direction, right? Because I sometimes feel like some people in life are without direction. And I truly believe that it could be from just lack of being silent enough to listen to that calling, right? And for them to kind of feel or figure out where it is that there's maybe supposed to be doing in life. But for you, how did you get to a point where you're like, okay, this is my calling, like, and you went in that direction and you didn't stop? How did you basically agree and not second guess that was your calling, so to speak?
Yeah, so kind of during that time I felt like once you have a relationship with God, right, and you're in constant prayer, I'm not saying that it's easy, but you kind of get confirmation, like, okay, maybe this isn't a good idea, or maybe, hey, doors start opening up, and hey, this is working out, this is working, and you kind of have to talk to God, like, is this what you want from me? Give me a sign, give me confirmation, Lord, give me something, right? Give me clarity, because sometimes our mind is so like doubtful of, but that's not of God. You get me? That's just the enemy trying to put those little thoughts in your head, like, what if you fail? But what if you don't? And I feel like that's a mentality type of thing too. And again, like, I felt like I was kind of like lost in a way. Like during that time we had got COVID, so I was kind of down because I was like, okay, my husband's very sick, it was during that time, and I was like, okay, something's wrong. I feel like my family's under attack, because I don't remember exactly what it was, but literally one thing after the next, after the next, and after the next was just getting worse, until the very last thing was that my husband got COVID. I got COVID. My son didn't have COVID. So then I had to miss work. He had to miss work. And of course that puts a pressure, because, there's no money coming in. So it was kind of like, no, like, what are you going to do in that moment? And I think that's when people are like, okay, well, what am I going to do? Right. Either you're going to be fearful and just be worried, or you're going to be a warrior and stand up for your family, and it just all goes back to, do you have a relationship with God or not? And so my thing is, why am I going to let the enemy take over my family? Because as a mom, I feel like I need to take care of my husband as his wife and my son. So my thing is, God, like, help me like to be strong for my family and provide, because of course my husband is the head of household. But during that time, he was sick. He wasn't really doing much. So I was like, okay, I need to do something. Yeah. And I feel like I've always been that way. Like, I've always been a grinder. Like, I've always had 2 jobs, always.
Really?
Yeah, always. Even when I was pregnant, I had a huge belly. I used to work at a hotel, okay? Yeah. So, and I wasn't just there in the front office. No, I was cleaning rooms. Yeah, I was getting down. I was cleaning. I've always worked. So I never stopped working until like maybe a week, because I was going to give birth. After that, I just continued working again. Wow. Like, it's just nonstop. And I feel like I just have to keep doing that. And point is, I kept asking God, like, what is it that you want me to do? Like, give me confirmation. And I don't know how it was that I was like, why don't I help someone? Or what if because I know people look up to me because I guess my transformation, or friends from high school, like, damn, like, what happened to you, right? And I thought, how else can I reach out to people, And I was like, well, what if I make an ebook? And I thought about it. I'm like, God, should I make an ebook? Like, I'm not a writer, but I know I can write a workout out for someone, And I was like, if it's your will, like, let it happen, right? And it just so happened. And I was like, why not, right? So I told my husband, like, let me work on this nonstop. Like, I have LASIK eye surgery. I had gotten it done. Okay. So I didn't have to wear glasses. And at that time, in January is when I did it, my husband was like, you're always on your phone, this and that. Like, he did not know what I was doing, right? Oh. And I was like, you want to see what I've been doing? I was like, I've been talking to God, and God sent me to do this, right? And so I was like, and the reason why I have these glasses, because he's like, why are you even wearing glasses? You have 20/20 vision. And I was like, my eyes are hurting from being on the laptop so long, but I knew it was going to pay off. I knew it. And I would talk to my brothers like, man, like, I don't like, well, because he didn't know, right? Yeah. But I was like, I'm working so hard, like, trying to create these things and this and that. And, God kept telling me, like, I kept telling God, like, I'm tired. Like, sometimes I would just stay up and try to, like, finish and whatever. And I don't know. I don't like to leave things halfway. Okay. I kind of just have to finish it. Yeah. So I was like, should I just, like, stop? And I felt like he was just telling me, like, no, like, keep going, keep going. And then point is, like, I told him flat out, this is what I'm doing. And the glasses that I had were like, they kind of help you, like, with the UV. Yeah. It protects like for that. Light? Yeah. So it doesn't have any, like, for you to see anything like that. It kind of just protects it. And I showed him everything, and he's like, what? That's what you've been doing? I was like, yeah, like, I feel like God's telling me this is what you should be doing. Right. So I kept doing that, whatever. I posted it online, and sure enough, I don't remember how many people bought it, but a good amount of people were like, boom, boom, really? Boom. And I was like, there you go. Because he's like, well, I mean, if this is what God wants you to do, then, you should continue doing it, right? Yeah. And I was like, well, we'll see, right? I was like, I'll just post it, see whoever buys it, right? Maybe one person will buy it. No, a lot of people bought it. Wow. And I was like, wow.
And if you don't mind me asking, it's an ebook for, like, workouts?
Yeah. So on my website, at the very bottom, there's, like, programs and stuff like that. So it's like a shredding program. Okay. I think it was 6 weeks or something like that. So, I mean, it'll take you, like, every week is, like, a different workout, and then it comes with, like, a little cardio plan and stuff like that. It's really cute. But yeah, I was like, why not? Right. Like, so a lot of people, I feel like they just don't want to try because they're just scared that what if it
I
doesn't
agree.
work, but what if it does,
Yeah.
you know? And like you have to have faith, you know, that it will. Like you have to believe in yourself,
Yeah.
and I know that's hard because at first I'd be like, "Oh, it's just me, nobody knows me, you know." But no, people are watching.
Oh man.
You might think they're not watching, but they're watching, and there's so many people that are supporting you that you don't even know, that they probably don't even reach out like hi, but they're there, they're watching,
Yeah.
you know. So and for me it's like my people, or my why, I guess you can say, is of course my son and my husband. So it's like if I'm gonna go up there, I'm taking them with me, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like, you know, that's just my thing. I don't know.
No, that's awesome that you say that, because sometimes, and I don't know, it's weird, and that's kind of like what I was actually talking to your brother about. It's like, and what me and him spoke about was like a easier version of what I'm about to say. It's like, not everybody that supports you, that really does support you, is going to always show their support. It's weird to say. Like, I know that there's people out there that really support me and like they really believe in what I'm doing. There's people that have reached out and told me. And I know that there's people out there that haven't reached out, probably not even liked anything that I've posted, nothing. But I know that when it comes like to a moment where I need their support, they'll do it without hesitation. That makes sense. So it's like, it's so strange that you say that, because it's so true. It's like someone is always watching. And like, I like your attitude, because you're like, well, maybe even if at least one person bought it, that'd be great. But then you come to realize that a lot of people bought it. And it's because, like, I don't know why most of us, if not, yeah, most of us believe that we're not like good enough to be looked up to, or to be supported, or to do something that's what other people could find surprising or crazy, like create an ebook or do like a podcast, something like that. It's like, there's people out there that are going to support you. And I truly feel that regardless of what you do, like, make it your goal first, whatever your goal is, and you're bound. You are bound, as long as you're living in what you think your truth is. You are bound to have support, right? You're bound to have people who truly support you financially or whatever, like in regards to supporting with the book or anything like that. And a lot of people, again, don't take a step towards their goal because they're always thinking that no one's going to support them, and that,
Yeah, they're fearful.
yeah, massively fearful. And I've been there. I've been there like big time. And it's like, it's so weird when you take a step back away from that perspective, and you switch your way of thinking up. So I used to think, okay, like I want to do this, like if people support me, now it's like the things that I do, it's like I'll do it, and I know eventually someone will support me, right? And even if they don't, like I'll do it regardless, because I believe for the most part, like, with the podcast and having conversations with people, like it's me living in a path of my truth, right? And the things that I also feel like was a calling. And besides the fact that I enjoy it, it's like I've been lucky enough to have people support me already. But even if they didn't, like I still have the mental strength to keep going until, or if,
Yeah, because you're doing it for you.
exactly,
Now.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that I think it's like a reflection type of thing too.
yeah,
Like I said back then, I would struggle with that. I'd be like, but why do people look up to me? You know,
yeah,
this and that. I wouldn't see it because I wouldn't see myself as like, oh my gosh, this thing, right?
yeah,
And I still don't. But I know I'm not the best, and I'm probably not gonna be the best, but I'm gonna give the best that I can
yeah,
be, right? And then God willing, I will be one of them.
yeah,
But I'll never claim to be the best. I don't like people like that, and I don't like when people act that type
yeah,
of way either. Um, because there's a lot of people that, let's say, they label themselves as, oh, the first this or the top whatever, and it's not a good thing. Like I feel like you always need to remain humble, because one day or another, if you're not, God's gonna humble you, and it's gonna suck.
yeah,
It's really gonna suck. So I mean, I don't know. For me, it's I've just always just been me. The people that know me, they know that I'm just real, and I am who I am, and I'm not shameful of speaking about God or things like that, because it's something that I'm proud of, and like I don't hide him.
yeah,
It's not embarrassing for me, and like I'm not ashamed or anything. It's how we live. My whole family knows it. And that's something that I want my son to look at me and be like, that's my mom, you know? Like, I want him to see that I'm not a quitter. Like, I'm doing this for a reason, and it's not just for me or whatever. It's because I want to be able to provide, to have something for my son, for him to see that, you know, his mom kept going, whatever it is, even if he doesn't want to do bodybuilding.
Right.
But I am pretty sure he does,
Yeah.
because he gets like motivated too. Like, he sees us working out, he's like, Mom, I want to be on a diet too. And I'm like, do you really? Like, he looks forward to his cheat meals on the weekend,
Yeah.
but of course he doesn't earn them.
Yeah.
Like, he just kind of like, is it cheat meal already? And I'm like, okay, dude, like, you didn't even work out. But I kind of want him to get that,
Yeah.
you know, because it's like, I've always been an athlete. My brother's always been an athlete. And I mean, why not have him follow our footsteps if it's to a healthier life,
For
you
sure.
know? Because now a lot of kids just stay home, play video games, and I hate it. I hate it because they don't experience the outdoors or have fun and play and get dirty and get hurt. You know,
Yeah.
that's how I grew up. I was always outside. So I don't want him to miss out on that.
Yeah, and I think you touched on a very important point there. It's like my little brother growing up, it was there was a point where he grew up how we did, playing outside with his cousins, things like that, sweating and hours outside, and then it got to a point where he took a lot of interest in video games. And me, I was never huge on video games, so like I experienced the same life you did, right? Outside, getting hurt. Like I never wanted to go inside. Like that was my thing.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where my little brother took a big interest in video games, and like we had to, or we all did as a family, but it got to me. Like I was afraid that he would miss out like on an experience that I went through that kind of made me who I am, right? And I was afraid that if he spent like so many hours like just playing video games, because that's what he wanted to do. It's like, but we didn't let him.
Mm-hmm.
And like he was like, sometimes he'd just get like ridiculously sad and like crying or not.
Yeah.
And it would hurt. It's like kind of like whenever your son wants like I forgot you mentioned something that he wanted something and you're like no, but then that you, because he wanted it, and you felt bad. But it was like a struggle because he would like really just be hurt by it. But it was like no, like we can't let you keep doing that. Not that it's bad. Like people play video games and they have a great life from it, whatever. But it's like there is something about experiencing the outdoors, like just getting like air, playing, running around, that really does. I think it really contributes to an important part of someone's life, right?
Yeah, their childhood.
Yeah, and it got to a point where it's like I literally got to a point where I was begging my little brother to work out. Like I would beg him, beg him to like, dude, please work out. He's like, oh, I don't like working out, and he was like very overweight, like very out of shape. And I don't know how like I got him to work out with me like little by little. Like I set him out his workouts now, right? And now he can't stop. Like now he can't stop working out. Like
that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's gotten to a point, and it's crazy to see. Even my big brother says it. It's like, dude, like if you wouldn't have kept pushing him to like work out, like there's no way that he would even be close to where he is right now. And it's like now it's like he's literally stronger than me and my big brother, which I hate to say.
Wow.
Yeah, like and he loves it now, and he's healthier because of it. But he still also plays his video games, but he takes care of business first,
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's awesome that you try to.
Yeah, sometimes like he'll play the PS4 and stuff, and we let him, but sometimes I'll be like, okay, yeah, that's too much already. Let's go do something else. And he likes the Pokemon Go game, so you kind of have to be outdoors. So he's like, Mom, do you want to go for a jog? And I'm like, yeah. So like we'll go, and he's there collecting Pokemon. I mean, he's just walking, but he's outside
At least,
And we're planning on getting him something for his birthday, which is in May, but I want to get him maybe a little bit earlier.
Okay.
So that way he's a little bit more outdoors. He wants a skateboard so bad.
Okay.
But my husband's like, no, because he's going to
skateboard.
get hurt and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, nah, let's get him something else. He's had bikes, scooters, what is that, four-wheeler thing?
Yeah.
He's had everything. And he's like, he'll play it, and then he kind of gets bored. But I was like, I know what to get him. I mean, he's probably not even going to watch this video. But then again, he might.
He
too,
might,
so
exactly.
I'm not even going to say it.
Might.
But yeah, I want to get him something. And I told him, I was like, you're going to like it. You're going to like it. But yeah, like I know he looks up to us too. Like,
of course.
So I'm pretty sure. Like, I mean, we took him to our last competition, and he was bored out of his mind. Like he was just like, I want to go home. There's so many guys in like little underwears. I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
He was like super like whatever. And then after, yeah, he's like, Mom, let me see your trophy. Like, he loves trophies. Like, so
Okay.
he's like, whoa, Mom, like, you did this and that. And I was like, yeah, like, it's a very nice feeling because, you have your son watching your
Yeah.
daughter or whatever. Especially if they're cheering you on. I mean, I don't think he was. I couldn't hear him,
Yeah.
but I could hear my sister. I could hear my mom.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's rewarding whenever your your child or your son is excited about something like healthy. Like is I can assume that it can be very rewarding whenever he comes to you like that because you win a competition with something that has to do with like being a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
So,
So I always try to push him like, come on, Eli, like let's go outside or let's work out. We have like stuff at home too. Like we have a 3 bedroom. So our third room is for that. I have like my treadmill, I have a bench, some dumbbells, kettlebells, a bunch of other bands and stuff like that. So I'm like, you want to get a workout in? Like, let's go. And like he'll go.
wow.
And there was one time, I don't know what it was, but something motivated him that day. And he starts like, Mom, put some rock music on. Like real serious. I was like, okay. So I put it on, right? Alexa, play this, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's there on the treadmill, like this, Mom. I'm like, yeah, you're good. I mean, I wanted to laugh, but not really because I don't want him to be like, oh, you're making fun of me. But it was just so cute seeing him. Like he was there. He had a little hoodie on.
And he's 8?
He's 8.
Oh.
And he's like here.
That's a young kid.
He's a big kid.
Yeah.
Like but then I'm short too. So like he's like right here
Yeah.
and like he's there doing weights. He loves doing like bicep curls.
Mhm.
Like arms are his favorite. I was like, dude, you gotta train legs too.
Yeah, yeah.
but no, like he'll do like little squats here and there.
Mhm.
But yeah, and I'll tell him like, your mom's a bodybuilder, right? And he's like, yes, Mom, everyone likes you. Like he
Yeah.
always tells me that, like, oh yes, like my friends told me this, or like, oh, like, or he's very overprotective too.
Okay.
I can't just wear a crop top. I can't just wear small shorts.
Oh.
Like my husband could care less, and he can tell you he doesn't care.
Yeah.
But my son, Dad, Mom was showing her belly, or Dad, why is Mom showing her butt cheeks?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. Or if I'm like posing and I'm recording, I mean, it's posing. I'm not just trying to put my butt out there,
Mhm.
And I'll tell him like, Eli, it's part of the posing, I have to be in a bikini all the time. And so he's like, yeah, but all your butt cheeks are showing and people are going to see it all over the world. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's true, I guess, but I was like, I don't know. I mean, but he's learning
Yeah.
that this is a
He's
sport.
still young though.
Yeah.
That's awesome though.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he's not a bodybuilder, I'll be shocked.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure he will.
Yeah.
Like
I'll be shocked if he's not.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he will.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Because he hasn't gotten through that puberty stage
Yeah.
yet. When they start caring about their health,
Yeah.
their hygiene, their hair.
And they start feeling like they want to lift stuff.
Mm-hmm. And he has like a lot of anger in him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's super sweet sometimes, but then sometimes he's
Sometimes.
super like mean.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you need to let out. Like if he loses in a video game, he gets so upset.
Okay.
I'm like, no, you're not gonna be a sore loser, dude. I was like, then just change the game or do something else,
Yeah.
whatever. I was like, but I don't like for him to stay in that stage of rage,
Of
like,
course.
oh, like I just didn't get it or I'm not good enough. Like, no. I was like, you try again, and that's that. But I feel like sometimes I was a little hard on him because ever since he was little, I was like, let's go, move it, hurry, hurry, hurry. Like, where are we at the grocery? Let's go, come on. Like, I'm always walking fast everywhere, like everywhere. And he's like, Mom, wait, I have little legs. I'm like, me too. There's no reason, like, like no excuses.
Yeah.
But I'd be like, okay, I gotta chill. He's my little boy. He was probably like 4 or 5.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, let's go. But then, yeah, I'm better now. Now it's
You're
just
learning.
like, okay. Sometimes he'll just be like, Mom, leave me alone. I'm like, okay. But no, I think he will follow our footsteps too. I think so.
I agree, especially with the good example that you guys have been putting for him. I mean, it's like I said, I would be very surprised if he doesn't. Cool. Grecia, I know that you're very busy, so I want to honestly thank you so much for making the time to come out here. My podcast is like it's important to me, right? And so people that come out and take the time to come and talk to me and just share ideas, share perspective that other listeners can tune into. And it's I'm very grateful for you coming out. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now, before we go, is there anything that that you want to say to the listeners, and that you might have on your mind?
No, not really.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, no problem. Everything that the conversation that we just had is a very interesting one, okay? Because you're coming from a point, your perspective comes from being a mother, being a wife, and having your own goals and you working, And I think that's it's impressive in its own. I think one of the biggest, let's call it what it is, excuses that people have whenever they want to do things is they don't have time, and they're so convinced that they don't. Although we all have the same amount of time, it's not a coincidence that some people, do more with the same amount of time that everybody has, right? It's possible. I think it's possible for anybody to do whatever it is that they want to do. Like, the time is there. You just truly got to make it. You got to be organized enough.
Yeah.
You got to be organized enough to, be able to structure your day in a way that you can get things done. So it's possible.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this is we're gonna cut it right there. This is episode 19 of the A7E podcast, and this is your host Jigadren. Grecia, thank you once again for coming out.
Oh, you know what? I was gonna ask you something.
What you got?
Why Jigadren?
Why Jigadren? Okay. Have you ever heard that before?
No.
Okay, so growing up in the town that I was from, like, we were all like kind of jokesters and whatnot, and I still remember to this day, and it's funny that you're the first person to ask me that. Okay, you're the first person. So,
Okay.
One of my friends back then, because I haven't spoke to him in years, but his name was Alfego, and he was just like, "Hey, we should start giving everybody nicknames." And I was like, I was 11. I literally remember I was 11 years old, and they gave my other friends nicknames, and what they gave me at that time was Dren, so it was short for Adrian.
Okay.
So they just said Adrian, right?
Okay.
And I don't know where that, like, in my high school, and then, like, I went to college, I can't remember who was joking around and just called me Jigadren. So I've been called, like, okay, I was Jigaboo, Jigadren. I don't know where Jigga came from. It was from another one of my friends. So, and then when I got to college, my big brother, I went to college with him, play soccer with him as well. He called me that in front of the team. And then the team essentially called me that, right? But there was a big point where nobody called me Dren, nobody called me Jigadren, right? So it wasn't one of those things where, like, everybody started calling me it. It just got to a point where, like, that name kind of came from my childhood. And, like, I really have never seen it anywhere else. And that's kind of what I thought. Maybe if I did a podcast, or anything that I try to do, instead of just Adrian, just kind of use something different, right? But for the biggest reason, it's that it came from my childhood and from, like, some of my friends. And if there's anything that I can do, like, moving forward, that I can keep with me from when I was young, at least let it be, like, a name.
Oh, that's cool.
I
was just curious. I was like, what's Jigadren? Like, I remember I asked my brother, I was like, but why, what is his name, Jigga? Or, like, what's his name? And he's like, no. He's like, I don't know why it's Jigadren. It's just Jigadren. I was like, but what's Jigadren? And he's like, ask him. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to ask him.
Yeah, people have called me Jigadren, Dren. Like, it's just, and I don't mind. I've never had a problem with anybody calling me anything. You know what I mean? But, yeah, that's that. Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, again, this is your host, Jigadren. Thank you so much for watching. Please, guys, consider subscribing, share it. I really love this conversation. I think you guys will too. And we will see you on episode 20. Until next time.
Bye.